with us, and he's sharing his experiences here in Indonesia. So Dr. Bammi, tell us, why Indonesia for so long?
Well, as I said, I think the most important thing I think about Indonesia is that it relates very much to my earliest experiences in Assam.
Right.
Assam is similar in terms of its landscape. It's got a beautiful lush landscape, and also it's a multi-ethnic area, a melting pot of different ethnic groups.
Right, right.
And in fact, I would say that Southeast Asia really starts in Assam.
From Assam.
Yes.
But even historically, the tribal culture in Assam is very similar to the tribal culture that was prevalent here earlier.
Absolutely. If you look at the Nagas, for example, and
Yes.
their weaving and things, it's very similar to other groups here in Indonesia. So I'd say there's quite a resonance with the way I grew up. And then, of course, just, my job has kept me here. It's a lovely job, as well as it's the perfect place, I think, to bring up children, and it's been very good for us. And also, of course, Indonesia is the crossroads to Southeast Asia, so it's enabled me to travel in this region and to really pick up on all the strengths of the region.
And it's great that we have you here to educate students about critical thinking skills and make them aware of all the social studies that you impart to them at school. Because to have a teacher such as you are, with your background and information, I think is a great treasure.
Oh, thanks so much.
What have you learned in your years in Indonesia? Has there been some insights or some special experiences that you've had in your stay here?
Yes, I think there's a lot one can learn from Indonesia, actually, and that's why I'd like to say that many people who come here perhaps come with this attitude that they have nothing to learn, and that in fact that they have a slightly superior attitude. I think that's not helpful. Rather, we can learn a lot once we are here. There are two levels which I want to talk about. First is that of course, Indonesia has got a lot of bad press in the last 7 or 8 years,
yes.
And understandably, I guess, for some reasons. But I think once you live here, you realize that there's much more to this place than what you read in the headlines. And I was influenced by the work of the French historian Fernand Braudel, who says that you must look at 3 levels of history. One is what he calls the geographical or geological. And there Indonesia is very beautiful, and and landscape photography comes out of that.
Yeah, your books are testimony to that.
Yeah, and then there's the other level which he calls the social or institutional level, which is to do with culture. And that again, of course, is very rich in this country. So I think once you look beyond the everyday sort of events, then you can see a greater strength to the culture, and it can teach us a lot. And in terms of the other level I want to talk about is just attitudes. As I said earlier, I think this is a country which is very mellow in many ways.
They're very friendly. I mean,
right.
I enjoy my stay in Indonesia because everybody smiles, and it's something you take with you everywhere you go in the rest of the world.
Exactly, and you begin to take it a bit for granted when you're here, but the moment you land somewhere else, then you realize, oh my goodness, I'm missing that. Just stepping off the plane and somebody greets you, very nicely. And people on the street, so I think that sense of that's what I call civilization, when people are sort of polite to each other even though they don't know you. So I think that kind of warm feeling towards a stranger, that's a very, very good thing to have.
Now that you've got 2 books published here in Indonesia, what's next for you?
Oh my goodness, now I can't stop. I visited a tea plantation near Bandung. Of course, I'm very interested in tea plantations because of my background.
Yeah.
And what I found in one of these was these beautiful photographs from the 19th century of a Dutch family who was there. And so I'm planning to, if possible, actually I think they've given us permission to take out those photographs and to sort of probably write a narrative about that.
I see. So now you're going to do the tea plantations in Indonesia.
Yeah, I'd love to do that, just to cover what life was like in the 19th century, perhaps, or early 20th century. And
do you find any differences in the tea plantations here and in Assam?
Yes, I think in Assam, I think the industry is more organized and very well set up, and whereas here, I think it's a little bit more, it's a little smaller. Yeah. But on the other hand, it's more mechanized here. They still use a lot of hand labor in Assam. Yeah, but otherwise it's fairly similar in the way it was set up and things. Yeah, and of course I also want to do something on Bali.
Oh.
But I haven't decided yet
so
what.
now you've got 2 books in the pipeline.
Yeah, as I said, once you start doing this, you know, it's very difficult to stop.
So these are similar kind of books with photographs and text?
Yes, I think photographs will always be a very important part of it, because I think, you know, I want to make it multimedia. Okay. It should be appealing on both a visual as well as a textual level.
Right.
Yeah.
What about other things? You know, so these are all very cerebral, you know, activities. You write books,
right.
You take pictures, you talk about critical thinking. What are your other hobbies and interests?
Oh, I love cricket, and I was a cricketer till I became too old for that. And I still play tennis, so I'm very fond of sports. I love film.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm a very avid film goer, and I like a variety of films again. And I love music.
So do you sell your photographs as well, or do you just are they your own private collection for your book?
Well, generally not. I mean, I have exhibited a few times at Pardenik's studio in Kamang, but I don't see this mostly as a selling proposition. It's more to sort of share
it.
Yes. But I have to say that with both Golden Buddhism and with this book, I have given part of the proceeds to a social service organization that we have at JIS.
I see.
Yeah.
Is there in all your is there some experiences or anything that special that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, well, I think going to Papua was an incredible experience, because again, I think there's too much prejudice in the world that people living in a certain kind of lifestyle are primitive, or that you know, that again, we have nothing to learn from them, or we go in and try and destroy their lifestyles. When you go to a place like Papua, especially up in the highlands and into their villages, again, you realize what a wonderful depth of culture they have, you know. And the depth of culture, again, I think comes from the warmth of human feeling. So again, as a stranger, I was immediately welcomed by them, and I never felt in any way threatened. I think that's a strong point to make, because so many people feel threatened or unsafe in Indonesia, whereas
if you go by the folklore or by whatever literature you find on Papua New Guinea, you know, it's like scary.
Right.
Some of it is.
Yes, and that's true of the country as a whole. I've never felt unsafe here.
Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your time here on our show, Dr. Bammi.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you, and we hope to see you again.
Thanks so much. It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
This is India Talks, a program sponsored by IndoIndians.com and QTV. If you have feedback and comments, please SMS them to 4628. Type in QTV space IT followed by your comments. Thank you.